Now, I wanted to reveal some secrets of the seed industry they might not think are real scrupulous. And, being in the seed industry the last year and a half or so, we built seed and seed blends for a company previously, put all our decades of knowledge into them, and then we wanted to start our own seed company. So we gave that entity about a year's notice, and we built on that, and we ended up moving to our own seed company. That's what we wanted to do. I wanted to do for many, many years. It's kind of my wheelhouse. That's why I've had food plot books in the past, food plot web classes, a couple hundred food plot articles, about 300 food plot videos. It's just what I do. And so in helping clients around the country develop their food plot programs is a natural progression. But I've been a little shocked on what I've seen in the seed industry. And it actually made us change our name this year a little bit. It's still owned by Whitetail Habitat Solutions. We had WHS Wildlife Blends. We changed it to Pure Wildlife Blends because I wanted to emphasize that we're going to have the most pure seed blends that we can find and that we can build for you with the highest quality. And that kind of goes along with all our products we use. I use the products I use not for a check. I use them because I think they're the best, to the point where I've used products for years and not with a contract or anything, just simply because I don't want to use something else. I've used Matthews bows since 1992. I've used lacrosse boots since the late 80s. This is going back a really long time. I have some releases, Carter releases that go back to the end of the 90s, early 2000s. I love those releases for target releases for 3D and indoor target. But bottom line is I like using quality products that last a long time, and I'm loyal to them. And when it comes to the seed industry, it's pretty crazy how a lot of things, and you could expand this to the hunting industry loosely, but there's a lot of things out there designed to take your money and without producing results, and that would be the seed industry. And when you look at number one, I'm just going to go over three quick ones that I see lately, is coated seed, and this is a big one. This is one of the reasons we want to come out with Pure Wildlife Blends. There's a trend in the industry to have coated seeds and coat every seed, and I'm fearful that in 5 to 10 years, we're going to have coated seeds within our blends, and we'll do it at the smallest percentage possible. But the reason they're doing that is simply profit. Coated seed. We talk about adding lime to change your pH. It takes tons of lime per acre to change the actual soil. Now, there's liquid lime out there. You use Deer Grow, Plot Start. There's products out there that can change it for a limited amount of time, or allow in the case of Deer Grow, allow the plants to take up the nutrients within the soil by changing the biological properties of the plants and soil so that they can uptake the nutrients. But those are all short term, liquid lime, whatever it is. But if you're putting hard lime on the property, it takes tons per acre. So when they coat your seed with lime, it does nothing for your seed at all. What it does is that it allows them to sell 10 pounds of clover. You'll see 30% inert matter, or 3 pounds of inert matter, coated seed. And that inert matter, anything that's inert matter, is not going to anything good in your seed. So what it does with that clover seed, or bird's foot trefoil, whatever it might be, those little seeds that are perennials like that, they're coated. It looks like some fancy color. You think, wow, this is going to grow really well. It attracts your attention. And you're literally getting 7 pounds of seed instead of 10. You paid for 10. It allows them to cut their profit margins. It allows them to cut their costs on seed, their overall volume of seed. And then they still charge you the ever-expanding rate of food plot costs per acre for that same seed, and they just make more money. And that's the trend that you see. And we've seen some where it's just high as over 50% inert matter. So imagine, we've seen this on seed that doesn't germinate. With switchgrass, for example, you'll buy 10 pounds of switchgrass and you get 5 pounds of seed. No wonder you paid half price or got 40% off or 30% off. It's because there's half as much seed in the bag that's actually viable or going to work. And when it comes to inert matter, that's all seed that's not going to grow. And we've seen that to the tune of over 50%. The big box store brands do that because the box stores dictate that this seed's going to sell for about this range of retail price. And in order for you to get your seed in there, you're going to have to cut costs in order to get that seed on that shelf. And that's why the more seed you see in box stores, and the bigger the brand is of seed company, the more they're going to rely on coated seed to cut their profit margin. They might do it in one area and not the other, but overall, the overall average for that seed company, they're cutting the cost per seed, which allows them to compete in the big box stores. And here's the bad trend on top of that trend. they're starting to coat brassica seed, even which has never been coated before. Not for any need of increasing germination or increasing volume or growth, quality of growth, or making that plant more sustainable in the soil when it gets moisture and it starts to grow. They're simply doing it to increase profit margin. It's a really bad trend, which is, again, why we call it pure wildlife blends, because I want you to know that we'll always use the most pure seed we can, and we'll be the last one standing when it comes to actually coating your seed in the room, because we want to actually know and sell you so that when you buy 10 pounds of seed, you're getting 10 pounds of seed. Cheap blends, Dorfesic rape. You can buy enough rape to plant an acre for less than $5. So when you're buying a bag of brassica, and we'll say 2 half-acre bags, because usually it comes in half-acre bags, let's say you're spending $80, that means if half the blend was Dorfesic rape or a third of it was Dorfesic rape, you're getting pennies on the dollar towards that cost of seed, and they don't call it Dorf for nothing. It also reseeds the next year a lot, so you have to worry about that if you don't kill it or work up the fields the following year. So it's pretty bad seed. I'm not saying a little Dorfesic rape is not a good thing, but a lot of times companies you're using as filler. Ryegrass gives you a carpet of low grass that deer don't eat. I'm not saying they don't ever eat ryegrass. They do when there's extremely high deer numbers. They do when there's areas of no food. And that's all they're going to eat is something green, no different than if you have a cabin in those areas in some wilderness area, the deer might come and feed in your lawn. But they don't do that if there's any kind of high quality food around. So ryegrass is used because it'll eventually come up. It gives you look at the food plot and say, wow, there's a little green haze on it. I did a good job. Those are just a couple ways that people cheapen the seed blends and improve their profit margins per blend so they actually can get more money, and especially with moving to these big box store brands. We see that a lot of the smaller brands, smaller companies, they're not using that because they're not worried about getting them into the box stores. Now we'll take on dealers. We have a dealer that sold a lot of seed for us, Nelson Ag out of Viroqua and Prairie du Chien, and we had people drive for two hours or more to go buy the seed there instead of paying shipping prices. So we'd like to have a couple dealers in each state for our seed, but we don't see having 10 because our seed company has not been built on a distribution of dealers and retailers. It's been on online sales because we give good information for teaching people how to plant, and then people will buy the seed that goes along with what we recommend, as opposed to just going to XYZ big box store and just paying something that they don't know exactly what they're getting or something cheap. And we don't like that retail game. It's a high risk game. I don't want to work with retailers on a daily basis. Instead, we have Wes that works for the company. He ships out seed. We keep it pretty slimmed down. Jen runs that portion of our business. And we're actually taking dealers on. So we'll have a dealer, basically a dealer profile that you can fill out to see if you're a good fit for us. But that'll expand to other products that we're going to be offering too. So, but bottom line is, you really have to watch out about those cheap blends, because again, people are just like the coated blends. They're doing that a lot just to get them in the big box stores and sell that huge volume of seed. Number 3, kitchen sink blends. This is an interesting one because there's a lot of scientific types out there that are selling seed blends that quote build your soil, and they'll have 15, 20 seeds in that blend, and each one is supposed to do something different. They advertise, they even go through a list. This is what it does to your soil on these. The problem is a huge portion of those get eaten down to the dirt. If it's during the summertime, which a lot of those soil builder food plot blends are, then you'll have weeds growing in their place that do nothing. They actually take from it. And then people are drilling or planting into those going into the fall. Now you have a bunch of weeds going into your food plot. You end up having a bunch of green garbage mess, and you don't really have a good food plot program. Those pieces get eaten down to the dirt, so they don't contribute anything to the soil. You have some things standing. Obviously, those are usually the ones that do the least for your soil are the ones that are left standing. For some reason, deer can equate good nutrition and good seed. Sun hemp is one of those. It brings a lot of nutrients to the soil, but deer eat it down to the dirt often in a lot of areas. They might not in some areas. There's no scientific set standard or rule for all of this. For example, brassica does really well in a mixed ag with normal deer population. Brassica, sometimes I'm talking rape, turnip, radish, sometimes won't be eaten in other areas where there's not a lot of deer and there's a whole bunch of ag. Then you put that brassica in a northern setting or in a wilderness setting, say Kentucky, where you don't have a lot of deer, but you don't have a lot of quality food, and they'll eat it down to the dirt. And so in one area, people say, well, this brassica is terrible. Deer won't eat it. In other areas, say, well, I can't even get it to grow past the start of hunting season. And that's the reason why. Deer numbers, availability of local forage and food. And so when it comes to you looking at a blend and people saying this is the latest, greatest blend, it's going to improve your soil, there's so many different aspects to look at. Is how many deer do you have? How much food do you already have? Are you getting a pure natural stand? Most people aren't. It's say 90% aren't, 80% aren't. So things that are advertised to do well that have a lot of different seed blends and say, well, we're going to do all these things, then they're really doing a poor job of doing something overall good on your property. I say like buckwheat. We sell buckwheat. We sell it as cheap as we can. It's very expensive seed. It's one of our lowest margin seeds along with rye because we just want to offer it. But the buckwheat is a soil builder that's been used for decades. It's not just a soil builder, it's a smother crop, so it smothers out weeds. There's no other crop like that. It flattens easy. We use a Packer Max to flatten it from Lincoln Road in Michigan that just flattens it right down. We can spray it, kill it. We can put it over seeds that are already on the ground. The glyphosate's not going to hurt the seeds at all. But bottom line is there's a lot of applications of of buckwheat. Farmers back in the day, that's what they clear a field, plant buckwheat, plant tillage radish in the fall. So those are great soil builders. Rye, annual rye is a great soil builder. That's a fall planting into spring, then you kill it, you put buckwheat in. You can put tillage radish in later in the summer. Those are all soil builders. It's a good thing. So we try to put those within our blends, but our blends, our brassica blend might be 5 or 6. If I thought 10 or 12 would be better, I would do that. But I found that it isn't. And just because it captures your attention to buy seed doesn't mean I'm going to use it. So these are some things to be really wary of. Kitchen sink blends, when you have 15, 20 different seeds, it's probably doing nothing for you. The latest fad, of course, there's a lot of those out there. But cheap blends, learn if there's a lot of rye in it, if there's a lot of Dwarf Essex rape, and there's a lot of other things they can add to it too. Coated seed, that's a huge, terrible trend. It's why we change our name to Pure Wildlife Blends, because we want to make sure, again, we'll be the last one standing in the room to offer coated seed. And we'll do that only if we ever have to someday, because we can't get seed without it, which will be very unfortunate. And we'll explain that to everyone, what we're doing and why. These are some trends I don't like seeing, but at the same time, you can always do the opposite of these poor trends and actually find pure blends out there, whether it's ours or someone else's. Look for what it takes to actually give you a good blend that you can hang out your hat on when you go to plant your food plots this spring, summer, and early fall. Now, I appreciate you guys watching the YouTube channel, but I don't know if everyone knows everything that we have to offer, whether it's on whitetailhabitatsolutions.com, our website, or WHS Wildlife Blends, our seed company. Also, Instagram you can check out. I'm very active on Instagram, putting strategies on there, photos of what we do every day. Much more active there than Facebook. But our seed, web classes, books, clients, articles. I have over 600 articles on whitetailhabitatsolutions.com, everything whitetail strategy. Of course, we have hats on there, and then make sure to check us out on Instagram again. But lots of stuff to offer. We're always coming out with new things, and this isn't the end of it. We have more things coming soon. Make sure to check us out.